This is my BAYANG Toys X16. I've seen several YouTube videos on the mounting of a G2D brushless gimbal on a SYMA X8, which I have one, but I've seen some pretty pictures. I said, well, I should be able to mount it on my X16. So we're going to see if we can't give some detailed information on doing that. First thing we have to do is mount the gimbal. Now that's pretty easy because the gimbal comes with a mounting bracket that you can drill 3 holes in the bottom of your X16, and this slides, the bracket slides right onto it, just neat as everything. So that was the easy part. Next, you have to watch yourself doing that because the screws go into the battery compartment, and you have to look back there and make sure that the screws do not protrude through and catch the battery. It usually takes a screw about a ½ inch or less. The next thing we had to do was get power. Now the X16 comes with a approximately 12-volt battery, and the female connector for the gimbal is similar to what you get on a little 3.7 male connector that goes into a 3.7 volt battery. And on the other end, the adapter, I couldn't find an adapter that would fit this little 4-prong gizmo on the 12-volt battery, and so I found out only the two the outside and inside prong gives you your plus and minus. It'd be the black and the red wire give you your 12 volts. So I got me a piece of solid copper wire, small enough, about the same size, and plugged it into the battery. And then made my own bracket using some this paste epoxy. Now you gotta be careful doing that. Don't let the ends touch together and short out, because it'd be like a arc welder going off. And once you do that, you can plug that right in to the little adapter you made, get your 12 volts, and you have to have your camera mounted, by the way, because it won't work if you don't. And this gimbal should fire up here if we got a connection. Come on. Oh, I see. You have to turn it on. See the red? Okay, it's loading up. See the red light blinking? Now, in a minute, this gimbal should level itself up, unless something's happened. My battery's run down or something. Alright, let's see what happens here. There we go. Now I've got it pointed down a little bit. There's an adjustment on the controller in the back of the gimbal, right up in here. It has 2 slots for screws, and have my gimbal there, and you have to adjust those to get the proper height on that thing, or get it to work. Anyway, this thing is very fragile, and if anything gets in the way, it won't set itself up. It won't boot up. That was another problem we came up with. The attachment or the cable that goes to the SM8, which I'm using a SYMA camera, it comes up too far, and when it tries to boot up, it hits this little gimbal bracket. So I had to take and cut the gasket down a little bit so it would clear it. Next problem I had was that the cable was too stiff, so I carefully took the cable I had and stripped the insulation off so that we had these 3 wires coming out, and that gave it room to boot up. That way you can control the camera on and off with your controller for the quadcopter. Another thing we had to do was raise the feet up about 1 inch so it would have clearance, and I did that with some foam rubber pads, the little pads that come on your controller that protect the levers. I just cut it 4 pieces and glued them on the bottom of the feet, and that took care of that problem. Let's see, anything else? Now, we haven't flown it yet because it's been about 12 inches snow. We can't even get the cars out. As soon as the weather clears up, we're going to put this thing and try it out and see what kind of pictures it takes. The only other thing we might add on this modifications I made on this X16, these little back threaded nuts will vibrate off and you lose your propeller and get a big crash. If you put a little tiny lock washer on those, it'll keep those from coming off. And that's about it. I've replaced the top on this thing several times, painted the back end black so to be able to distinguish the front from the back. Makes it easier flying. And next post, as soon as we get this thing and test it out, we'll fly it up for you. Appreciate you watching. If you have any questions, just give me a reply, and we'll try to take care of it for you. Good night.